iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
It feels truly insane. It's hard to process these kind of things, I guess. But I just try to, I just stay grateful, and I try to focus on the fact that like I'm in the shoes of like legends and people that I look up to, and those are the kind of things that are tangible for me, I guess. So yeah.
It's exciting. You know, we broke all the box office records at the Goodman. It was such a huge success, and I got to be home doing it there because I'm in Chicago now, based there. But bringing this, I really want to bring this show to New York, and I'm so excited that we're doing it because it's such a revolutionary rock opera that the music and the staging and the dancing and projections really add like this sort of sensory overload when you come to see the show. So I'm really excited to do it.
I'm so excited. We're in tech right now, and I think so many of us are looking at each other like, we're here? How did this even happen? I feel like we were just in Chicago, but it's so exciting. The audiences loved it in Chicago. We loved doing it in Chicago, so I'm hoping that everyone here likes it just as much.
It's surreal. We all certainly had a hope that it would come to Broadway, but it never was seen as a guarantee. And the fact that it has, and that it's moved so quickly, and that the love and energy and support we had from Chicago is transferring here, along with many of our local Chicago actors who are now living in New York for the first time, getting their equity cards, making their Broadway debuts. It's an extraordinary energy and galvanizing group to walk into work with every day. So we feel profoundly grateful and so ready to share what we have with New York.
It hit us the other day when we stepped into the Nederlander, a theater that I've known my entire life because I'm actually a New Yorker here, so I got a chance to see many shows growing up, especially Rent, which I was a fan of. But to be able to walk into a piece of history and knowing that you're a part of it in some way, bringing Tommy into this particular theater, into this production, has been truly extraordinary and exciting, and it's one of those moments where you have to say, we are doing it, it's happening, and I'm proud. I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of all of us.
I mean, it's a dream come true. I can't really, this question gets asked of me a lot, and I don't know if I have words for it. It's an unbelievable thing to walk into that rehearsal studio, and now the Nederlander Theater every day, and be among these unbelievable performers. I don't. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I belong. They're so good. So it's just a dream. It's a dream.
You know, I know it sounds odd, but it's really been a process of discovery. I didn't expect to get to do this again, to be honest. I did do a version, a kind of recreation of the Broadway show when I was artistic director in Stratford, Canada, about 10 years ago. And I'd always wanted to do that, and I think I learned from that production that if I ever got to do it again, I did need to rethink it. I needed to go back, in a sense, to the sketch pad. It's a kind of tradition in the theater that people return to projects. The German playwright Bertolt Brecht continued to go back to plays decades after he'd written them, and so that's what happened to us. There's a real joy to doing it and to finding new things, and I guess the easiest way to explain this journey has been that we did it because we felt the world had finally caught up to Tommy Walker. You know, that everybody's walking around staring into a mirror, I'll be a black one, and trying to escape a hostile universe. And so we didn't have to change the story to make it pertinent. It took on a new kind of meaning. And so that's, again, an honor to get to do that.
Yeah, I've never seen another Tommy. I sort of stayed away from watching anything, so it's my own. And it's when I close my eyes and listen to the music, it's the way I see it moving. So
This is such a cool show, and growing up, I always wanted to do a rock show. Spring Awakening was like my big obsession. And I'm working with Ira Pittleman, who is one of the main producers on that as well. It's just a dream, and everyone that I'm working with is like a master of their craft. So it kind of makes you live up to that level. You have to be at your highest level of performance, which is challenging but also very rewarding.
The evolution with my character has been huge from a personal level because I actually found out the first day of rehearsal in Chicago, an hour and a half before we started the first day of rehearsal, I found out I was pregnant. So I did the show pregnant up until 5 months, and now I've had my baby 7 weeks ago, and now I'm doing the show as a new mom, and I play a mom in the show. And so my entire stakes, I just feel like have gone up so much now that I can relate to her even more being a mom.
I think this show is special. It's such a unique piece. It's it's a rock opera written by Pete Townsend when he was like 23 or something. Child prodigy writing this thing, and when he wrote it, it was a concept album, but you didn't really think. I don't know if he thought of seeing it on stage, but the way it was written, it's just made for that. And when we did it in Chicago, we didn't know how it would go, but we had a feeling that it would be well received. And I think when you have all the elements together with Lauren Lataro's amazing choreography, and Des coming back to direct it, which is brave. 30 years ago he did it in Wanatoni, and then coming back, we didn't know he was open to the reinterpretation. So it's fresh, it's new, he likes to say the world is caught up with Tommy Walker, and everyone's staring into their screens these days. So there's definitely some parallels and metaphors that I think makes this show appropriate for today.
It's funny. I remember hearing the music. It's because my mom and my grandmother were big radio people, and so occasionally we would hear the music, but I didn't make the connection that it was part of some sort of album or even of a story. And I came to learn it more when I was in college, and I started learning about musical theater, and luckily that was one of the things that we learned in the curriculum. And I got a chance to actually do a production when I was 23 years old of The Acid Queen. Had no idea really what I was doing or stepping into, but I look at my life as full circle because it's an opportunity to kind of come back to this role many years later, many years later, and which a lot of actors don't get a chance to do, which is kind of revisit a role and find ways to fill in the gaps, make it better, make it stronger, make it more specific, make it more intentional. You're not just playing the role by the song. I feel like I'm actually playing the role now by the character, and it's very exciting.
My first, kind of experience with the show was my drama teacher had the souvenir program from the original Broadway show, and I used to go into her office with other friends of mine, and we would eat lunch together, and I would flip through that souvenir program, and I remember thinking, God, this must have been such an amazing show, and then was lucky enough to be able to get a copy of the original Broadway cast recording and think, oh God, this is the most amazing thing. And now, so many years later, to be out there and doing it is, it's just amazing.
The nature of this production is that while it's, I think technically, I think involves wizardry, and I think it's visually very impressive, but the actors really tell the story. There is nothing that moves on stage that is not moved or gripped, as we say, by an actor. So they basically do all of the storytelling. And so, we have a kind of an intimacy creatively because of that, that is new and fresh. I love this company. Ali Borsky is just a tremendous talent. He's not only intelligent, he's emotionally free, which is what you want in an actor, and he's very charismatic. And I dare say a lot of people are going to fall in love with him, I for sure. And Pete is really, I think Pete really feels a parallel between his generation, the 60s generation, and Gen Z. Now, both rebels in different ways, but I think he's really planning for this to speak to that generation, as am I. But that really came, I think, initially from him. He said, we have to do this for those kids.
It's extraordinary because it's a room where we want to make it palatable and as vital as it can be for today's world, today's society. And I think the root of it that we all come back to is that we have all gone through our individual idiosyncratic versions of trauma, particularly in the past 4 years. And we might be in a position now where we want to face that a little bit and see an archetypal character like Tommy come out the other side with healing, with forgiveness, with clarity, with a sense of hope for the future, and to be able to give that to a group of 1,100 people every night who are all looking in the same direction, all have to take in the same thing at the same time without looking at their phones, without being distracted elsewhere, is a very special thing, and I think is what's going to give it particular resonance now that I never could have expected when I was 15 and first being introduced to this material.
Des is a visionary. I mean, his ideas for the show are so extraordinary and so poignant and so beautiful and so intense. I just think audiences are gonna lose their minds.
This cast has been really good. It's just such a solid, strong acting core. Like from everybody from the principals down to the ensemble, like everybody. I'm saying like. We're in it, and Des likes to say, it's a very serious show. You can't be backstage when you're backstage about to come on. You got to be connected, and people are just naturally doing that. They're not dancing, they're acting through their dance, and we're not having to show what we're doing. It's not musical comedy. It's really kind of cinematic in the way we're doing it, and I think audiences will be thrilled by that.
This cast is extraordinary. They're amazing. They're so crazy talented, and there's this this eager love for what they do, and you feel that on the stage as not only being a person on the stage with them, but sometimes just stepping back and witnessing in the wings how extraordinary they are and serving the authenticity of the show. But I will say that there is something really palpable happening at the Nederlander, and there's a raw, grounded authenticity and a lot of integrity that is being brought into this production.
The cast is incredible. They are dancing so hard. They are singing their faces off. They're beautiful actors, and they are fully, fully committed.
The process has been unbelievable, and I think one of the things that makes this production so great is that we really, truly are a tight-knit group of friends, almost like a family. And we enjoy each other so much off stage, and it just reads through the work, and it always does. That when companies come together like that, and it's kind of magic. I don't know if it's created or done, but it is something that we have experienced on this. And you just know when you're out there portraying the story, whatever your character's doing, that you're just sitting on a bed of support, and that feels amazing because, as a kid, the things or at least the things that I was drawn to about being in the theater was camaraderie and finding people that I knew liked theater as much as I did. And this group knocks that out of the park for me.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.